What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about what's going on with OP-13. Because when we looked the other day, OP-13 had just come out, and I did what I normally do. I told you, you know what? Let's be honest here. Might not be the best time to pick up singles of OP-13. Seems a little bit expensive. Maybe we hold off for a moment on this. Maybe we don't do this. Maybe the prices people are paying are absolutely absurdly ridiculous. As an example. So now the set's been out for a little while, a few days, week or two. So now we need to ask the question, well, hang on a second. Was Wassy right? What is going on with the price of these cards? So let's take like the biggest card in the set. The red manga Luffy. I showed you the other day that this was being bid. There were actual bids up to 6,300 and then an actual sold best offer accepted 7,100. So you're talking 6.5, 7 grand for the red manga Luffy. That is a lot. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely huge. Are we still there? Is it about a 7 grand card? Or can we look at this now and go, well, hang on a second, maybe that was a little bit silly, maybe we can go a little bit more sensible? And the answer is, it depends. Now, there's actually a lot of replicas and textured replicas and all of that over on eBay, which is horrendous. We do not want those. But we can have a look. A few days ago, a couple sold, and one sold for 5,200 and one sold for 6,300. So we can look at that and go, well, hang on a second, that means the price is coming down quite nicely, jobs are good 'un. But there is actually one more that sold on eBay more recently than those for $8,000. Oh, well, that's not ideal now, is it? And it did sell, incidentally. Now, it didn't sell for 8,000. It was a best offer accepted, but it's fair to assume that we're probably over 7 grand here. So we got two that are significantly cheaper than what we saw the other day. Yay! But then we got one coming in hot on its heels afterwards, which actually went for a little bit more. So the answer is, these red mangas are still, they're too rare. They're too rare for us to really figure out exactly what's going on. Nobody knows exactly how much these should be. Take the red manga Sabo the other day. The other day it sold for about 3 grand. It's a little bit below 3 grand. Okay. So where are we here with the Sabo? Yeah, we're actually higher. Sabo's gone up. The other day I showed you a best offer accepted on 3 grand. But now I'm showing you that the most recent sales are 3, and 4.5. And they're not best offer accepted or any of that. They are just sold. So the Luffy the other day, people were getting a little bit over the top and going, well, hang on a second. That's Luffy. We should pump this right up. And it turned out to be a bit too high. But the Sabo, people were like, well, it's only Sabo. 3 grand sounds about right. And now all of a sudden realistically 3 to 4 grand. But again, the one the other day was actually a little bit lower. This one is a little bit higher. So what about the Ace? We might as well finish off with Ace here. The other day I showed you a 3-2 for Ace. That's about right. Last 3 sales, 3-2, 3-5, and 3-6. So maybe Ace has gone up a tiny bit. But actually, if we and there aren't many sales here. I need to stress that. We need to keep reminding ourselves that there aren't many sales. So the information we've got is far from perfect. The pull rates on these red manga are so low that it's really difficult to figure out a nice, easy price because the pull rates are so low. But the general theory seems to be Luffy's come down, Ace has stayed about the same, and Sabo's gone up. And incidentally, initially, Sabo was the least popular and underrated, and Luffy was the most popular and overrated. So it does make sense that they would be the direction they're going in. But the big point for the red mangas here, we don't know. It's still bloomin' early. There we go. What about regular manga then? What about regular manga? Then what about the regular manga Luffy? The other day I showed you it was 1,500. Where are we now? It's coming down. Now it's coming down quite slowly. Let's be clear. But it is coming down. The last 3 sold, we got a 12, a 13, and a 14. So we can even it out at about 1,300. It is coming down. It's coming down pretty slowly, but it is still coming down quite nicely. But we should really be expecting this. The thing about manga rares is they're not that new. We've had them since OP-01. They're not new at all. So we kind of know where we're going here. We also kind of have some idea of what the rough value should be, and we know that the expensive manga rares end up at about $1,000, so this should be ticking down to about 1,000. That makes perfect sense. So yeah, this one should be coming down quite nicely. Now, I didn't actually show you the ace the other day. We ran out of time. So let me do it now. Here are some early sales of the manga ace. I'll flick back to a couple of weeks ago when the very first sales were coming out for the English manga ace, and they were pretty much like 1,100. This one was actually quite easy. 3 sales, 1,100, 1,100, 1,099. Okay, cool. It's an $1,100 card. And we can flick forward to now. What were the last 2 sales? Both 900. So again, the manga is coming down. Ace, by the way, is not going to settle at 1,000. I told you that the big mangas tend to settle at 1,000. Ace is not going to be one of the big mangas. There's 3 manga in the set, the 3 brothers. The big one is going to be Luffy. Ace and Sabo aren't going to be there. So the red manga are a little bit all over the place. The regular manga are coming down nicely. What about these God Pack cards? I showed you the other day there was a St. Marcus Mars that was like $1,000 card for some reason. Yeah, we are not there, ladies and gentlemen. We are not there at all. But part of the reason for that is that that was the last sale of Mars on its own. Actually, if you have a look, people are selling these as a group, and they're selling them for about 2,300. There's a 24, a 22, a 2.5 best offer accepted. Now, compared to one being $1,000 the other day, this is a significant drop. But let's be clear, these 5 are only available in the God Pack. They are incredibly popular and sought after. Yeah, they're like over $2,000, and they're going to stay ridiculous, just to be clear. They're going to probably stay below the red manga, but they're going to be ahead of everything else. And I think at this point, this is a treat them the same kind of thing. I think we have to treat these about the same, because that's what people on eBay are doing. The individuals aren't really being sold. But then again, yeah, like I say, the last Mars sale was the one that I showed you. But it's also worth pointing out, people want to collect them as a set. People want to play them as a set, so that makes perfect sense. If we want to have a look at the other cards, however, we can head on over to TCG Player, and yeah, it's nice and easy now, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I've shown you like the really big cards, okay? I've shown you that they are a little, they're coming down except for the red manga, but we're a little bit all over the place generally. But if we have a look at regular cards, other cards, this one's nice and easy. Take a look at the alternate art leader Imu. Early sales, people were trying for 200. And then on release, people were trying for like 130. And they were selling at 130, incidentally. 200, not so much. They were selling at 130. We're now down to 70. The big cards in this set are coming down slowly, except for the red manga. But despite it being a set of big hits, the regular cards are doing what the regular cards should be doing. They are all coming down nicely. Imu is the best leader in the set. This is the alternate art. And it's still not really holding value. There's another leader in the set, which is very big and everyone's loving it and it's doing well. It is Ace. What's happening to that one? Early sales at 175, and there were a couple that sold. Sitting at about 130 on release. Now sitting at 64. To be clear, these are crashing. absolutely, and I mean absolutely crashing. The bigger cards, the manga, are coming down slowly. The God Pack is coming down quite a bit, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last. The red manga are all over the place because we don't know what to do with them. But outside of those like uber cards in the set, no, they are coming down nicely. You know, the special rare Smoker, one of my favourite cards in the set, pre-sale of 80, wasn't really selling. And then there were a few sold around about the mid-60s, $55 card. Coming down quite nicely. Now, if I pick this up, I'll probably pick up the Japanese one, honestly, because the Japanese ones are generally quite a lot cheaper. But make no mistake about it, the set as a whole is really just coming down like nicely. Outside of these giant Uber cards, the set as a whole is just kind of crashing down. You know, take the regular alternate arts of Marcus Mars, not the God Pack version. We had early sales of 100, which was selling, and then it was selling for like 65 on release. Now it's down to 50. And honestly, I've seen a bunch cheaper than that over on eBay lately. So the reality is, set as a whole, coming down nicely. Manga rares coming down slowly, but coming. God Pack seems to be coming down, but again, I don't know how low that's going to get. Red mangas all over the place. But the set as a whole is coming down quite nicely. So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this. Tell me what you've pulled. Tell me what your boxes were like in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.